Hi everyone, it's Agnieszka from 5 Minute Language. Welcome to my channel. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and give this video a thumbs up. So today's video is a little bit different. It's not strictly about language advice. It's a video in which I'm going to introduce myself a little bit more because I've just realized that I've been running this channel for a couple of years now and I haven't actually properly introduce myself to you guys. So a few days ago I asked the people who follow me on Facebook whether they would be interested in a kind of get to know me video on my YouTube channel, and the vast majority of you said yes. So here it is, a video in which I'm going to give you a little bit of information about myself, and also I will ask you to comment in the comment section where you're from and what language or languages you're learning, because I'd love to know a little bit more about you guys as well. So let's get this video started. I'm gonna use some questions that you guys submitted on my Facebook stories, and then you can also post additional questions in the comments so I can answer them in future videos. So are you ready? Let's get started. So the first question is, where did you grow up? So as some of you know already, at the moment I live in London. I've lived here for many years now, but I actually grew up in Poland. So I grew up in the sort of southeast of the country. I lived there all of my childhood and I went to school there, and when I was 18 I decided to go to university in England, so that's when I moved away from Poland. I still go there all the time. It's only a 2-hour flight and you can get fairly cheap flights between London and different cities in Poland, so it's very easy for me to get on a plane and see my family. So the next question is, what is your native language? So a lot of you don't know that, some of you do. Obviously, like I've just told you, I grew up in Poland, so my native language is Polish, and many people actually comment on my videos and say, oh, I didn't know that you were not British because of the way I speak, which is very flattering, so thank you so much for thinking that. But yeah, my native language is Polish, and I didn't actually speak English until I was probably, well, I didn't speak English properly until I was probably about maybe 10 years old or something like that. I guess I consider myself fully bilingual at this point. So the next question is a common one. How many languages can you speak? And it's actually quite a tricky question to answer because I speak different languages to different levels, so I don't like to say that I speak German because I can't really have a conversation in German, but I do have some elementary knowledge of the language. So in terms of speaking languages, I can speak Polish, English and French fluently. I can also communicate in Spanish. I can read in Spanish. I'm quite good at reading actually, which is something that many people struggle with. Very good at reading, not very good at speaking. That's me. I also have some basic knowledge of German and Japanese, and I've also learned Swedish once, but I've forgotten everything. What countries have you visited? That's the next question. So I've visited most countries in Europe. I was really lucky as a child. I used to travel a lot with my mum and dad and my brother. We used to drive around Europe every summer and also in winter as well. Sometimes we used to go skiing, places like Slovakia and Czech Republic and Austria and Italy. So I visited most of European countries. In terms of places outside of Europe, I've been to the US and Japan, and I love both. So the next question is, what countries have you lived in? So I've actually lived in 3 different countries. Like I said at the start of this video, I grew up in Poland and I lived there until I was 18. Then I went to university in England, and I also moved to France for a year during my studies to do something called Erasmus, which is like a student exchange in Europe. And so I spent 1 year in France and then I went back to the UK. So yeah, 3 countries. So the next question is, dogs or cats? And the answer is definitely dogs. The next question is, what's your morning routine? I'm actually going to make a video about my morning routine. I will make a video about some of the things that I do that help me stay productive and organized and motivated for the day as well. What do you like to do in your free time other than learning languages? That was another question. So like I said to you before, I do love travel. I've travelled quite a bit. And my favourite thing is about travel, apart from obviously like seeing the culture and interacting with people, is food. So I'm very interested in just, trying new foods, going to restaurants. Where I live in London, I'm very lucky because there's lots of really nice places to eat out. So whenever I've got some free time, I like to go to try new restaurants and food markets and kind of like street food places. There's a few places like that near where I live. So I'm very lucky to have that. Other than that, I do like reading and learning, and like I said, I'm learning to code at the moment, so that's something that takes up a lot of my free time. I'm not very sort of into watching television. I do watch sort of Netflix shows every now and then. I haven't actually seen anything for a while, but I've got a couple of things that are on my watch list. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the second season of Killing Eve, and also a show called Black Mirror. So if you're a Black Mirror fan, or if you've seen Killing Eve, make sure you don't include any spoilers in the comments below. So the final question is, what's the thing you regret the most? So my general attitude in life is that I don't really regret anything. I think, whatever happens, happens, and sometimes things happen that we didn't sort of have control over, or we didn't think them through properly. But to me, my attitude is that, it was a learning, and maybe things didn't go the way I wanted them to go, but it was a learning for me. It's something that led to something else, that led to maybe a more positive outcome. And also, when I take decisions, I try to take all the information I have at the time and make my decision consciously, and really kind of like take full responsibility of that decision, so that when it comes to looking back at it, I will be able to say, well, I had all the evidence and all the information I needed to take that decision at the time. And obviously now I might have kind of additional information that would mean that I would make the decision differently, but I don't see it as a regret. I just see it as a learning and just part of life. So that was the final question. I hope you enjoyed this little video. I'm really looking forward to making a bit more of these kind of informal, get to know me, sort of chatty videos. If you've got any ideas for what you want to hear about, then let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Bye!